The story begins with a man named Max struggling to survive in a broken world. Years ago, a massive nuclear war destroyed civilization, and now only a few humans remain in this wasteland. Max drives through the desert in his car, but suddenly a group of people start chasing him. These are the War Boys. The War Boys suffer from a strange, deadly illness. To stay alive, they need fresh human blood. That's why they're after Max. They crash into Max's car, force him to stop, capture him, and take him away. Max is chained and imprisoned. The War Boys mark his back with his blood type, so anyone who needs blood can use him. They even brand him with their gang symbol. Max tries to escape, running for his life. But as he runs, he's haunted by visions of people begging for help, people he couldn't save. The War Boys catch him again. Now we're introduced to Immortan Joe, the ruthless ruler of this land. Immortan Joe wears a special breathing mask because without it, he can't survive.
The War Boys work for him, and he controls everyone. Water is almost gone from the earth, and Immortan Joe is the only who controls machines that can pull water from underground. Standing above the people, Immortan Joe declares himself their savior. He releases a small amount of water, just enough to keep them desperate. The people fight each other for every drop. Next, we meet Imperator Furiosa. Her left arm is missing, but she's strong, fearless, and respected. She works for Immortan Joe. That day, Joe sends Furiosa with several War Boys to Gastown to bring back fuel. Furiosa drives out in her massive tanker truck, but instead of heading toward Gastown, she suddenly turns the truck toward a forbidden route. The War Boys have no choice but to follow her. She's their commander. From afar, Joe's scouts watch through binoculars. They realize Furiosa is not going to Gastown. They warn Immortan Joe. Joe immediately understands the truth. He rushes to a secret chamber where he keeps 5 women locked away to bear his children and continue his bloodline. But the chamber is empty. The women are gone. Immortan Joe realizes Furiosa has helped them escape. Enraged, he declares a full-scale hunt. He orders his entire War Boy army to chase Furiosa and bring the women back alive. The War Boys cheer with excitement. They've been taught that if they die for Immortan Joe, they'll enter paradise. Engines roar as they grab their steering wheels and race into battle. Among them is Nux, a weak, sick War Boy. To survive, Nux is being given Max's blood. Nux notices another War Boy, Split, trying to take the steering wheel of his car. Nux stops him and says, "That's my car, I'm coming too." Split mocks him. "You can barely stand. How will you fight?" Nux snaps. He attacks Split and shouts, "I don't want to die crawling on the ground, I want to die a hero." Nux decides to strap Max to the front of his car, using Max as a living blood supply to keep himself strong during the chase. Split agrees. Soon, the entire army speeds after Furiosa. Immortan Joe shouts one final order. The 5 women must not be harmed. They are the mothers of his future children. As Nux drives faster and faster, Immortan Joe looks directly at him. That single glance fills Nux with pride. He smiles and whispers, "My place in paradise is waiting." And with that, Nux slams the accelerator and charges straight into the wasteland. We now see Furiosa far ahead of Immortan Joe's army, driving at full speed toward the east. She believes that somewhere beyond the wasteland, there is a green valley, a place with water, food, and life. That's where she's taking the 5 women. The War Boys traveling with her don't know her true plan. They trust her, and that's why they continue following her. But when they start seeing Immortan Joe's signal flares in the distance, suspicion grows. They ask Furiosa why the War Boys are chasing them. Furiosa says nothing. She orders them to keep moving. As they push forward, they enter the territory of the Buzzard Gang. The Buzzards notice them immediately and launch a violent attack with all their vehicles. Furiosa's crew fights back, blowing up several enemy cars. But then, the Buzzards roll in with a massive, heavily armored truck. Meanwhile, Nux has gotten dangerously close to Furiosa's tanker. He tells Split, "First, we take out the Buzzards. Then we capture Furiosa and deliver her to Immortan Joe. We'll name our reward." Together, they attack the Buzzard vehicles and destroy every last one of theirs. With the path clear, Nux moves in to stop Furiosa. That's when they see it, a gigantic sandstorm forming ahead. Even then, Furiosa doesn't slow down. She drives straight into the storm. Nux follows her inside. The storm is violent and terrifying.
lightning, flying debris, and massive tornadoes everywhere. Still, Nux keeps pushing forward. He even manages to get ahead of Furiosa's tanker. But suddenly, his car crashes into her truck. Everything goes dark. The next morning, we see Max, who survived the crash. He's still chained to Nux. Max drags Nux out of the wrecked car and tries to shoot off the handcuffs, but the gun is broken. Confused and desperate, Max spots Furiosa's tanker nearby. He drags Nux with him toward the truck, where Furiosa is repairing it. Max assumes Furiosa is the enemy. He points a gun at one of the women and orders her to unlock his chains. As she reaches for the lock, Furiosa attacks Max, grabs the gun, and fires. Not knowing the gun doesn't work, Max lunges at her. A brutal fight breaks out. Max finally overpowers Furiosa. Just then, Nux wakes up. He wasn't dead, only unconscious. Nux tells Max that Immortan Joe will reward them for capturing Furiosa alive. Max orders Nux to cut his chains. The moment Nux frees him, Max punches him hard, knocking Nux out cold. Max then drives off alone in the tanker. Meanwhile, Immortan Joe and his army continue closing in. Furiosa knows the truck won't go far. She's installed a kill switch sequence. Sure enough, the tanker shuts down after a short distance. Max tries everything to restart it, but it won't move. Furiosa catches up and calmly tells him, "This truck won't run without me." Max tells her to get inside, but Furiosa refuses. She won't leave without the 5 women. Reluctantly, Max lets them all climb in. Still, Max doesn't trust any of them. He keeps his gun trained on them and gathers every weapon inside the truck, keeping full control as the chase continues. As Nux regains consciousness, he realizes the tanker is moving again. Without hesitation, he runs and jumps onto the back of the truck. Inside the tanker, the 5 women use binoculars and see something terrifying. Forces from Gastown and Bullet Farm are also chasing them. Immortan Joe has united every nearby faction to hunt them down. Furiosa tries to push the truck faster, but something is stuck in the rear tanker, preventing it from reaching full speed. Furiosa tells Max she'll go back and fix it herself. Max refuses. Instead, Max climbs to the back. There, he discovers a loose cable connected to the fuel tanker. He reconnects it, and suddenly the truck surges forward at full speed. Max also cuts off the remaining restraints on his body. Meanwhile, Nux, who had been hiding inside the tanker, suddenly attacks Furiosa. Before he can do any damage, the women overpower him and throw him off the truck. Max arrives and warns Furiosa that even more enemies are closing in. Furiosa explains her plan. She tells Max that the next territory belongs to people she once made a deal with. She promised them fuel in exchange for safe passage, and they agreed to collapse the canyon behind her, blocking Immortan Joe's army. But there's a problem. She told them she would come alone, so Furiosa orders the women to hide inside the tanker. She tells Max to stay with her in the back, since he may need to drive. Max doesn't trust her. He keeps his gun aimed at one of the women. As they approach the canyon, Furiosa explains the tanker's driving sequence to Max so he can control it if needed. Then Furiosa climbs down and meets the canyon people. She tells them she's brought 5,000 gallons of fuel, just as promised. They keep their word and detonate explosives, collapsing the rocks behind her. But Furiosa refuses to detach the fuel tanker. She orders Max to keep driving. Enraged, the canyon people open fire. Furiosa narrowly escapes and climbs back onto the truck. Still greedy for fuel, the canyon raiders chase them. Behind them, Immortan Joe's army is blocked by the fallen rocks. But Immortan Joe has a massive, powerful vehicle. He forces his way through. At that moment, Nux appears and tells Immortan Joe that he was on Furiosa's tanker. As proof, he shows a piece of cloth from the women. Impressed, Immortan Joe takes Nux with him and orders the others to clear the rocks and follow. Meanwhile, bikers attack Furiosa's truck, dropping bombs from above. Suddenly, the fuel tanker detaches and explodes. The blast wipes out all the bikers. Immortan Joe narrowly survives and continues the chase. As Joe prepares to fire at Furiosa, one of the women steps out in front of her. She is pregnant with Immortan Joe's child. Joe freezes. He can't bring himself to shoot her. In that moment, Furiosa fires back at Immortan Joe. But one of Joe's allies shields him and saves his life. Furiosa speeds away once again. Now, Nux steps forward and tells Immortan Joe that he knows how to get inside the truck. He claims he can stop them. Immortan Joe orders his men, the Vuvolini, to throw Nux onto Furiosa's vehicle. As Nux crawls forward, the chain on his arm gets caught, and he's left hanging from the truck. Seeing this, Immortan Joe decides Nux is useless. He charges forward himself. One of Joe's men throws a hook at Furiosa's truck. The hook catches the steering wheel, ripping it free. Seeing this, the pregnant woman climbs out again and cuts the chain with a bolt cutter. But suddenly, a massive rock formation appears ahead. Immortan Joe shouts a warning. He doesn't want her hurt. She jumps back just in time and survives. But as she tries to climb inside the truck, the door breaks apart and she falls. She lands directly in front of Immortan Joe's vehicle. Joe tries desperately to save her, but in doing so, his vehicle crashes violently. The chase reaches its most tragic turning point. Immortan Joe picks up the woman, but she's already dead. With her, his unborn child is gone too. Rage consumes Immortan Joe. Two of his riders arrive on bikes, and Joe sends them ahead to stop the truck. Inside the tanker, the remaining women beg Max to stop, but Max tells them the truth. She was crushed under the wheels. There's no going back. They must keep moving. Moments later, the engine starts overheating, forcing them to stop. Max pours water over the engine to cool it down. Suddenly, one of the women tries to run away. Furiosa spots the bikers approaching and shoots them down with her gun. The fleeing woman cries that she doesn't want to die and wants to return to Immortan Joe. The others stop her and explain. Joe never cared about them. He only used them. Realizing the truth, she returns to the truck. They move forward again. Max asks Furiosa about the green place. Furiosa says it's somewhere to the east and they should reach it within a day. She orders the women to collect every bullet they have. Furiosa climbs down to repair the truck. Max tells her they also need someone watching the rear. One of the women volunteers and goes back. As she keeps watch, she hears Nux's voice. She finds him broken and devastated. Immortan Joe had called him worthless, and now Nux feels his life has no purpose. The woman comforts him, calming him down. As they continue driving, night falls. They enter a swamp-like marshland, and the heavy trucks slowly start sinking. Max quickly comes up with a plan. He plants dynamite behind them to stop Immortan Joe's forces. They move ahead. When Joe's vehicles pass through that area, the explosives detonate. A massive blast shakes the land. Most of the vehicles sink into the swamp and are completely stopped. Only one enemy car manages to get through. At the same time, Furiosa's truck also gets stuck in the mud. Everyone works together, trying to pull it free, but it won't move. Then Nux appears. At first, they think he's an enemy, but the woman speaks up. He wants to help them. Suddenly, they see a car racing toward them. Max opens fire, but misses. They now have only one bullet left. Furiosa takes the gun from Max. With calm focus, she fires a single shot and disables the enemy car instantly. Nux steps forward and suggests a plan. They can tie the truck to a tree and pull it out using power. Max agrees. Nux drives the truck while Max secures the cable to the tree. The enemy car starts firing at them again. Nux pushes the engine hard. The truck finally breaks free from the mud. Nux parks it on dry ground. The engine is overheated again. They need time. Max tells Furiosa he's going back to deal with the enemies. Furiosa asks, "What if you don't come back before the engine cools?" Max replies, "Then keep going without me." Max walks off, ready to die fighting. The others pour water over the engine. Suddenly, a massive explosion echoes in the distance. Furiosa fears Max is dead. Then she sees a figure approaching. At first, she thinks it's an enemy, but it's Max, alive and carrying all the enemy weapons with him. Together once again, they climb into the truck and continue their journey forward into the wasteland. Max is hit by those same haunting visions again. He opens his eyes and realizes it's morning, and they've traveled far. Max asks Furiosa, "How do you know the green place really exists? Why are you taking us there?" Furiosa answers quietly, "I was born there, but when I was a child, someone took me away." Max asks if she's ever tried to go back. Furiosa says she tried many times, but always failed. And then she adds, "I was given command of this powerful tanker. I knew this was my only real chance." They continue forward. Suddenly, Furiosa spots an old watchtower. She stops and tells Max, "I remember this tower from my childhood." She steps out and begins shouting, "I am one of you. I am the daughter of the Vuvolini, of Jabasa." Moments later, a group of bikers appears. They are all women. As soon as they see Furiosa, they recognize her. They rush forward, embrace her, and welcome her back. Furiosa tells them she came from the citadel, beyond the mountains. Everyone climbs out of the truck. The women ask, "Who are these two men?" Furiosa answers, "They are our allies. They helped us survive and get here."
She then tells them she wants to show everyone the green place, the land they once lived in. The Vuvolini fall silent. They tell her the truth. The place you came from, that swamp you crossed, that was the green place. They explain that over time, the land became poisoned and nothing could live there anymore. Hearing this, Furiosa is devastated. The green place was the only reason she kept going. Inside, she completely breaks. Night falls. Later, Furiosa sits beside Max and tells him what the Vuvolini revealed. She says there might be greenery far away, with clean water and life, but it would take 160 days to reach it. The tanker won't survive that journey. However, if they collect enough fuel, they could reach it using the motorcycles. She tells Max that one of those bikes would be his. The choice is yours. Come with us or don't. Max replies calmly, I won't go with you. I'll take my own path. The next morning, Furiosa and the others ride away. Max stays behind with the tanker. But then, the visions return. A young girl appears and says, You promised to help us. Why are you leaving us now? Max is shaken to his core. He can't escape it anymore. Max jumps into action, rides after them, and catches up. He tells them the truth. The direction you're heading in, there's nothing there but salt. Everyone is stunned. They ask, then what do we gain by going back? Max answers, water, green land, a real chance to live. Then, Max lays out his plan. They'll take the tanker back the same way they came. Along the road, they'll face Immortan Joe's forces. They'll dodge them, survive the chase, and once they reach the canyon, they'll destroy the tanker, blocking the path. After that, they'll take control of the Citadel. The idea changes everyone. Everyone agrees. Meanwhile, Immortan Joe, exhausted and nearly defeated, suddenly sees Furiosa's truck heading toward the Citadel. He realizes the truth. The Citadel is undefended. They're going to take it. Fueled by rage, Immortan Joe gathers his remaining forces and chases after them. Joe's army attacks the truck relentlessly. During the assault, the tanker's engine is badly damaged. With no other choice, they send Nux to repair it, because Nux is the only mechanic they have left. The final battle is about to begin. Max moves to the back of the tanker. Immortan Joe's men fire harpoons and latch onto the tanker, trying to slow it down. Max grabs a cutter and starts slicing through the hooks one by one. But enemies climb onto the truck and attack him. Max fights them off brutally until one man shoots him with an arrow. Max collapses unconscious. Suddenly, the visions return. The girl appears again, calling him back. Max's eyes snap open. He gets back up and continues fighting. Another enemy strikes Max, merely knocking him off the truck. But Furiosa grabs him, refusing to let him fall. At that moment, one of Immortan Joe's men shoots Furiosa with an arrow. The wound is deep. She's bleeding badly. Still, Furiosa doesn't let go of Max. A truck behind them speeds up, about to crush Max. But Nux charges in, slamming into Max and pushing him onto the other vehicle. Max lands safely. Max wipes out everyone on that truck. Meanwhile, Immortan Joe's men attack Max's original truck again. The tanker is about to explode. Max leaps onto another vehicle and the tanker explodes behind him. A massive blast rips through the wasteland, destroying multiple cars at once. Max reaches the doof wagon and fights his way through it. At the same time, Immortan Joe pulls ahead of Furiosa's truck, blocking the road. Seeing this, Furiosa decides this ends now. She tells Nux to drive. Furiosa jumps toward Immortan Joe's truck. Max sees her and follows immediately. Furiosa reaches Joe's vehicle, but his Lieutenant Rictus tries to stop her. Before he can, Max arrives and knocks Rictus unconscious. Furiosa pushes forward toward Immortan Joe. As Joe raises his weapon to shoot her, Furiosa grabs him and hooks his breathing mask. The seal breaks. Air rushes out. Joe starts suffocating. Furiosa begins to fall, but Max grabs her just in time. Immortan Joe collapses, dead. Cheers erupts, but the fight isn't over. Joe's remaining forces are still chasing them. To end it, the pass must be sealed. The tanker must be sacrificed. Nux tells everyone to get off the truck. One by one, they escape to safety. Rictus regains consciousness and attacks again. Nux slams the brakes, stopping him. Enraged, Rictus rips the engine out and attacks Nux. Nux realizes this is his end. He looks at his friends, smiles softly, and says goodbye. Then, Nux crashes the truck into the canyon. The explosion collapses the rocks, sealing the path forever. The chase is over. Now, we see Max and the others heading toward the Citadel. Furiosa is barely alive. She's lost too much blood. Max quietly gives her his blood, saving her life. For the first time, Max speaks his name.
My name is Max. They reach the Citadel. A few guards try to stop them. Max raises Immortan Joe's lifeless body. The people below erupt in joy. They shout, "Let them rise." The gates open. Water is released for everyone. Hope returns. As the people celebrate, Max slips away into the crowd. Furiosa watches him disappear. A silent goodbye. And there, in a broken world that finally found hope,